my latest project, sorting, organizing, and cleaning the clothing hoard. Now that's a challenge. A lot of people collect things for a lot of different reasons. Usually it is to fill a gap in life where things were really stressful. So I'm going to kind of talk about this one place I'm working at, this one project in this one place. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say, hey, here's where it's at. Don't even get excited about that. But it is just sorting and organizing what someone has collected over many years is clothing. Clothing seems to be a thing that usually women collect clothing to feel good. They'll go shopping when things are stressful, when they're depressed, when they're angry, when they're feeling frustrated, when something's not going along right, or if they have some event in life coming up soon, they'll go out and buy something. Or, sometimes if they're bored, they want to fill the empty bored gap in life with collecting stuff. They shop for clothes and shoes. So depending on the person and situation. All right. So it's hard to help someone who collects stuff. Everything has an emotional attachment. And I think that's pretty understood at this point. It is all over the internet, the TV, the movies, everything. It's just people haven't made very many songs about it. I guess that's where people are missing the education about hoarding. Anyways, so this one project I'm working on is for a couple. One person in the relationship has collected lots and lots of clothes and shoes. All right. So unfortunately, it has filled 4 closets full and spilled out onto beds, tables, chairs, other furniture. Okay, so that's when you know it's gone too far. You can't tell the person who owns the stuff, hey, you're a hoarder. That's rude. They won't respond very well to that. Usually, it's usually got some negative feelings to it. But what you kind of got to do is say, hey, you've invested a lot of money in some stuff that's not doing any good for you. It's kind of crowding where you need to live. You're crowding out the area where you need to feel peaceful or sleep or sit or all the things in life where you can't even get to the clothes you like because there's stuff in the way. Okay, so there's a closet that, yes, is too small. It is definitely a small closet. Even for a single person, this would be pretty small. But it is full. There wasn't much room to put anything. Everything was folded. I have begun folding and making things more organized. It was smashed in there pretty messy. And you couldn't even tell what shirt was what. It was so piled. So anyways, I started working on sorting the jeans out, separating them from the shirts, the sweaters, the pajamas, etc. And then I started working on folding all the shirts. And there's quite a few sizes in there that didn't fit the homeowner. So for 3 weeks now, I've been asking the homeowner, hey, try this on, see if it fits. You haven't seen this in months. It's been in the back of the closet. Does it fit? And so just going through basic sorting and cleaning. And this is the painful part, is because everything has an emotional attachment. The memories of these things start popping up. Sometimes the homeowner, I gotta say things right, will look at the item and say, I don't remember getting that. And it doesn't fit. And that is a little key turning moment where you can actually say, all right, let's set this aside because it don't fit. It's crowding you from being able to get to the things you like. And that's when you can start to help. You find these little gaps in those emotional blockade walls where you can't get through. So yes, I had to organize. Shoes ended up moving to the other closet. There's gotta be at least 100 pair of shoes. between that closet and the next closet. They're in the top of the closet, the bottom of the closet, and stacked next to the bed in a basket. There's got to be 300 pairs of pants. And you'll see that in a moment. And there's got to be at least 500 shirts. Now, this is all for one little old lady. That's way more than she could ever wear. She could have a different outfit every day of the year. And yeah, it doesn't matter, but when it gets to the point where it is a waste of money and crowding her space, and she can't get to the things she actually likes, she has to look through a bunch of stuff she doesn't like. And then there's the risk of something falling on her. And then there's another risk where there's been mice that have come into the house and died. There's a health risk. So there needs to come a change now and then. A lot of these shoes in the second closet next to the first one ended up getting organized together. There's a few shoes with no matching pairs. The mystery shoes. And there's a lot of pants that didn't fit, and so slowly over 3 weeks we've been talking about the correct size that actually fits her. And that's a long process for someone who's collected things for a long time. You can't just do this in a day. It takes months. Really bad. I'm not trying to con her out of her hoarded stuff. I can't wear her size of clothes. Nothing's really selling, I'm going to tell you that, on eBay or yard sales or Craigslist. But it is bombarding her life to the point where she is stressed and unhappy. Now, as a house cleaner, and you say in your advertisement, that you will also help sort and organize, this is part of the process. A lot of people that need help sorting and organizing have collected stuff way too much. They have emotional attachment to their stuff. This is part of cleaning. This is part of dealing with hoards and people who are collectors. None of this is classic, antique, or extreme memorabilia. None of this is hand-me-downs from special loved ones. This is stuff that's collected out of emotional attachment and stress. So it does need to be dealt with. Now, back in this corner next to the bed, there's got to be 40 or 50 pairs of shoes. This is where the major shoe hoard is. Now, someday we'll talk about this, but it's too much right now. Right now, we are dealing with the non-sensitive subjects. Sensitive subjects would be shirts and shoes. Those are sensitive subjects. I tested the water, and that was a no. But the pants, there's some hate for some pants. So there's a little bit of room to ask questions and make some progress with pants. We're working on jeans, not sweatpants, not shorts, not pajama softy pants, not stretchy pants, only jeans. So you can see how this is a long process. Sometimes it takes people months before they can let go of stuff that they never use, that they've blown money on, that crowds their life, that attracts mice, that all kinds of stuff that is a burden to even have that much going on. Now, if you can imagine, this closet was crammed full of piles of pants jammed on the left where no one could reach them. Back in a dark cubby hole where there was still, I think, sheetrock from the ceiling that had fallen down. There was a leak above, and it had leaked all over. And that was fixed several years ago, but the remnants of the pieces were still in the clothing, and there's still stuff hanging from the ceiling. So I've put all the boots up top, and this is the closet that was full of shoes and pants. And we've sorted the tubs up top. I'm hanging everything up on hangers and jamming it in this closet so she can walk up, look at the shirts, and pick up one, because before she couldn't. This will hold a lot of her hanging clothing. So I made some progress there. And then I found, to my blessed surprise, that this shoe shelf can actually be turned and still fit in the closet. So I've stacked all the shoes up on this shoe shelf, seashells by the shore. There's just enough room to hang all the clothing in that closet still, and have all of the shoes that were in the closet not next to the bed. This is a different pile. There's two giant piles of shoes. These shoes can finally be stacked in pairs on top of each other to the side. Yeah, later we'll talk about shoes that don't fit. But right now, it's just jeans. So this has worked out really well. Sometimes you just have to work slowly with people. Like, some people have post-traumatic stress disorder, and you just can't step over a line because sometimes it will just set off too many emotions all at once. So you gotta take your time and step lightly. Making progress and doing well is the quality of your work that stays with you. Now, the first closet, I finally got all of this stuff stacked up, folded. There's tons of shirts on the top of the shelf. The pant pile is almost as tall as the homeowner, so that's a little bit troubling. But I have sorted through those jeans, and there's probably close to 80 to 100 jeans all in that one closet. Not in that stack. I'd say there's 50 to 60 jeans in the stack. But there's more pants in there than the picture shows. So I've sorted through, and we took out all the stuff that's way too big and way too small, and I put it in a pile. And I asked her, I was like, hey, do you want me to take these to my yard sale and see what I can get out of them? And she said yes. And so I said, wow, okay. Usually it's, no, I want to keep this forever for no reason. And a big argument and attachment to this and that and this and that. But no, so I got to take a giant stack home, and we'll see if it sells. A lot of these pants, they're pretty big. There's no way, if you're getting an idea that I'm getting free pants, that's not true. I can't fit these. They're size 16, and they're pretty big. Some of them were, I think, a 12, and I still can't fit a 12. I'm still pretty tiny, so lifting this many pants was funny. It's kind of comical. But this is the most progress I've ever seen this closet, and it took 3 weeks of sorting it. I only come once a week, and so each week I try and do a little progress. Actually, I think it's been 4 weeks now. I think so. So the next move here, she says she still can't see the shirt she really wants to wear, that they're not reachable. They're all folded. And that's kind of this pile here, right on top the big shoe basket. And this stuff is kind of, she keeps it out so she can reach it easy. She's an older woman, and she doesn't want to dig through piles of stuff, even though she creates piles of stuff. But she don't want to dig through it. She wants to have it. It's a security blanket. It makes her feel like she got this under control. She's not going to be without resources. Well, the resources have kind of begun smothering the house. So, and she doesn't want to drop stuff off, drop stuff off at the thrift store, Goodwill or St. Vincent or any thrift store that's even small business owned, because she says it's a waste of money. Well, it kind of is, but the waste of money hasn't happened when you drop it off. The waste of money is when you purchased it and started stacking it and didn't wear it. That's when the money got wasted. And the longer it stays there, the worse off the condition of clothing gets. Either there's mice or moths, or if there's a water leak, or the dog gets to it, or the cats get to it. And then you start to see the waste of money. It's not, hey, there's a stack of clothes there that nobody wears and they're wrong sizes now or whatnot. Whatever it is, they're still stacked there. That's when the money got wasted. As soon as you buy stuff that you're not using and you stack it, that's when you've wasted money. So to donate is not a waste. To get your money back, you can't get your money back by donating. This is true. You can't get it back by wearing stuff that doesn't fit and being uncomfortable. The process of losing money has already happened. The emotion that was financially invested in to bring security to the house or to feel good or to accomplish a goal that's been unreached is where the money got invested in. And the result is not exactly fixing whatever was wrong in the first place, it's collecting stuff. So I guess the other concern would be a fire hazard if you had like a whole bunch of stuff plugged in. This would be fuel that would light up and flutter around the room or fall on you if it were on fire. How would you get through the doorway if your collected stuff falls on you while it's aflame? This is a problem. It's not a common problem, but it is something that ends up happening with people who collect and hoard. They get endangered by their collection. Most people don't want to hear that. When they look at a pile of stuff they've collected, they see this is a value. I made sure to have this. But this does not solve security. Security is not collecting things you cannot wear. It's not piling stuff around and endangering your living area where you need to de-stress or get dressed or sleep or just walk around safely. So it's hard to make changes. A lot of people have a really hard time making changes. But once you start talking about one thing at a time and listening, you gotta listen. Sometimes you can find a gap where you can give them a little bit of light. You keep the things you need and like, but you don't need to keep the stuff that doesn't fit, the stuff that you can't use, the stuff that's too old, the stuff that, you gotta let go of. Some of this needs to be let go of. So enough educational ranting later. The next goal would be to deal with the piles that are not in the closet. Now there's another room that's full of clothing. It's all over the bed, the floor, it's piled in the closet, it's everywhere in there. It's jammed in drawers. All the drawers are full in the next room. So that's a different day. Right now, working on sorting through things that are not wearable. And this will bring some relief once the homeowner starts seeing the progress and they can get to the clothes they like wearing and they start to enjoy finding the things they purchased. That's a value to them that they wanted to have to use. Then they start seeing the other things for what they really are. Stuff in the way. It's stuff in the way. I mean, if the end times hits hard, nobody's going to be wanting to trade food for t-shirts. They want ammunition, medicine, or whatever they're addicted to. They're not going to want a t-shirt with a cat on it. That's going to be an oddball request. Like, hey, I've got 20 t-shirts. Can I have a can of corn? No. God dang nabbit. So that's not going to work to hoard clothes. But this is the progress. So be sure to like the video, subscribe, comment, hype it, and check out the buymeacoffee.com/GMarie and throw me a few bucks. I enjoy drinking a coffee now and then, and I enjoy the donation. So be sure to check that out.